Welcome to All Things Retreat Podcast. I'm Holly Porter, your host and CEO of Retreat R&R. With over 25 years of experience in designing transformative retreats, I'm here to share insights and inspiration to help you create extraordinary experiences. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, you'll find valuable ideas here. Enjoy the ride. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show today. I've got a great guest. I know I always say that, but it's true. I just know how to get good guests, and you will learn a lot from Esther. So I'm going to read her bio here because she has done so many amazing things in her life that I don't want to miss any of it. So Esther Wildenberg, did I say that correctly?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Committed to empowering women while leaving a sustainable legacy today and for the next generation. She also serves as the co-founder and president of Codebreaker Technologies, LLC, the world leader in personality coding technology. Esther's an accomplished consultant, coach, advisor, and speaker. With over 2 decades of international experience, she understands culture, diversity, inclusion, and the power of team like no other. Her passion? People. Her mission? To equip and empower people to manifest their own greatness in business and life. Esther's executive path started at a young age. By the age of 33, she was a CEO of a consulting company in Europe, leading a team of over 800 employees. From there, she held multiple C-suite executive leadership positions while building her own consulting and coaching company in the Netherlands. Today, her impressive career spans over 20 years across multiple industries and continents. Yet, according to Esther, she's just getting started. Esther knows how to build companies and brands, and most importantly, she knows how to build people into the best, most successful versions of themselves. She's done it countless times throughout her career and companies that she's represented. And now she's called to share her expertise with clients and companies around the world. Esther's a leader's leader who leads from the inside out. Who she is how she leads, without exception. Yet her true North Star is her unique grasp of the power of spiritual intelligence and integrated relationship between us and the world which we live. Unlike traditional coaches and mentors, Esther has tapped into spiritual intelligence to help businesses and individuals access their deepest values and unlock their greatest purpose to create incredible, real change and drive lasting growth. Welcome to the show, Esther.
Thank you so much. It's actually a lot.
I know. I was like, what do I leave out? This is amazing. So I'm really excited that we got our calendars to match up so that we could share with retreat leaders and maybe aspiring retreat leaders where to get started in all of this. You've done, I mean, we read your bio of all the other things, but it didn't say a lot about retreats, which you've been doing. So just give us a little backstory of where that started for you and how long ago and what you'd like.
Yeah, I joined my first retreat, I think, in 2002. And then I made it my mission to at least go on one retreat a year for just being off the grid for myself, a whole week, Esther time. And in 2008, I launched my own retreats. And back in the day, I called it Spring in Motion. That actually has actually a double meaning of spring, like jump into action, and also spring, the beginning of where everything starts to grow and bloom. So since then, I've hosted 75 plus retreats around the world, mostly Europe and the United States. I've done several in Asia, mainly Bali. But yeah, that's, it's just beautiful to see the transformation with mostly women. We all know women are way more evolved and advanced in many, many ways.
Yeah.
And I had a few retreats where I invited men, but it disturbs the energy of the group. So I made it women only pretty soon after that. Or when I do a couples retreat, then it's specific for couples. And then, of course, you have a nice mixed group people. So yeah, just a beautiful experience of leading groups through transformation. That is what I'm really excited about.
I love that you're specific about leading them through transformation, because we've had other guests on here, and I have guests that are booked now that specialize in just transformation, where others specialize in business. and do other types of things and bring their coaching in and bring those kind of programs. So I love that you've recognized that the transformations where the space is where you want to play, which is
Well, the
great.
transformation is not transformation is who you are, and then when you're optimized personally, you will be better in your business too. So I do
Oh yeah.
transformational retreats and leadership retreats because a lot of companies want to work with me, hire me to facilitate their mastermind or retreat, and I'm the host and facilitator. But it's also an important topic. But
Yeah.
transformation starts from the inside out. So if you're not optimized, you will never be optimized in your job or in your own business or in life. So it's all
Yeah.
transformation in different areas, but I believe there's some key areas that need to be transformed first before you can go to the next level.
How many days do you think true transformation can happen? In as little and as most? What have you seen?
3 days is a minimum. You need
I,
3
I would
days.
agree.
And then you need a solid 3 days
Mhm.
where I have my own program I created. Uh, Day one is breakdown. And nobody likes day one because we go into the pain and the suffer and the things
Yeah.
we don't want to work on, things we don't really want to face. We don't want to feel it again or experience it again. And then we have to. And then day two, I give them a little more reflection day and getting clarity on what they want, love writing, exercises. And day three is build up and getting them ready for the next step, next phase in their life. And then there's, of course, 3 or 5 days. Longer than 5 days, most people get anxious because they have family or business and they lose their ability to stay focused on themselves.
Yeah.
Um, so I do either 3 days or 5 days. And the 3 day is more like a 5 day because they have the travel day before and a travel day after. And the
It's
5 days
true.
more like a 7 day. So,
Right. Do
yeah.
you like doing international more than local? Well, not or national, I should say.
No,
International.
it's all different. When it's local, it's mostly California, where I live, Southern California, or Sedona,
Yeah.
what I really like. And international, I've been to so many places. Like, um, it's some people don't care if it's U.S. or outside the U.S., but I've noticed Americans are very attached to their own country when it comes to travel. They like, oh, is it in the same state, or this? I just need to fly 3 hours and I'm fine. Well,
Yeah.
for my European experience, the further away, the better.
Do you think you get more transformation by traveling further?
Yep.
I do too.
Yeah. The
Interesting.
biggest transformation, if you're totally detached from your business and your family, but even more from your own city state and even better from your own country. Because
Yeah.
now you have a totally different energy vibration, a different culture, different food. Everything is different. And you meet a lot of different people from around the world. So it's a more interesting dynamic. But the growth, I believe, the further you're away from your source where you're planted, the more transformation will happen, the deeper you will go.
Yeah.
Uh, the better the experience. So that's why I like to go international.
Do you advise going with people you know?
No, very clear on that. I don't. That's why I do a couples retreat. I know, but it's all focused on their relationship, either when they work together or live together, right? So it's a
Yeah.
that's specific. But otherwise, I don't go with your best friend or go with your partner. I'll say
Yeah.
because you can be way more free
Right.
when it's just you and you can show up as your authentic self
Yeah.
without looking left or right or any judgment or opinions they have of you for the past year, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, 40 years. People have their own perspective of you and just be you 100%, but nobody it's perfect.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. So if someone's listening and maybe they're on the newer side of being a retreat leader or the aspiring side, what could you recommend? Where would they start? Let's say that they've maybe done one that was local or a day treat, to get their feet wet. They're new, they're green. What would you say to them?
What is important, what I learned over the past, now what is it, 16, 17 years, is that you really need to be prepared and know what's gonna it's possible that will come out of people. It's not just putting on an event and then facilitate sessions. You have to be able to keep the space and the energy, and when people go really deep, that you can hold them. So you need to make sure your own inner work has been done. And we all know it's ongoing work, but make sure you're very solid, very grounded, that you don't have major issues yourself you still have to work through. To
Yeah.
be very clear on your programming. And I keep it always a little bit open. It's not like a lot of people, what is the agenda? And I said, this is actually the first moment you can actually let go of that you don't know what the agenda is. Because I like to go with the flow of the group and
Yeah.
the people and the environment. I have certain things that are always basic. I always start with meditation. When the sun rises, I do my meditation to get them totally at their purest being. That's how I start. What's next? You don't need to know what's next. That's the whole problem. You always want to know what's next. So this is
They're
actually,
probably blueprints, right?
but we all have blueprint inside of us. We all want
True.
to some control. Like when we're going
Yeah.
to an environment, we don't know their needs. So I give them a basic agenda, but
Yeah.
be flexible and have a toolbox you can tap into, and not just one or two things. You need to be able to be flexible and do new things and go with the flow and carry sometimes heavy weight and the energy. So prepare is really important, and know your skills and know when you offer transformation, really, what is the area you're going to transform? Is it their mindset? Is it their heart set? Are you going to heal their heart? Is it soul set? Is it spiritual? Uh,
Hmm.
or is it physical? Is it a more health focused? Or is it all four? Like you need to know your messaging has to be clear so there's no wrong expectations, because people have expectations. We all say expectations are premeditated resentments, but people have them, right?
Yeah.
Be honest about where you're really good at. So I know I'm not a yoga teacher. So if I want to do yoga my retreat, I will bring somebody, most of the time local, that is going to do yoga for me every morning, for example. It's not going to be me. I will participate. I'm not going to be an outsider watching, but I'm going to not facilitate. So no, if you want to include things that is not your strength, find someone that can deliver that for you if that's important for you as part of the retreat. You don't need to master everything.
Yeah, I agree. I love what you said about make sure if you're new and you're doing transformational work that you've worked on yourself, because nothing could be worse than falling apart at your own, being the leader and falling apart. And
Had it have happened a few times. I went to a retreat and I had to take over after day one as because the retreat
wow.
host fell apart. And it was
Yeah.
actually my first retreats ever that I joined. And then I felt like I have to take this over. And I never had done a retreat myself yet, but I knew that was what I wanted to do. And I did a lot of work to get ready for it. So I just took over and I just went with the flow, and they loved it. And I told them,
Yeah,
I didn't want to take over your event, but I had to. At that point, we're in such a critical exercise. I took it over, and he was very grateful.
I'll
Uh,
bet.
but he said, I didn't expect this to happen. And so be ready when something happens that
Yeah.
you're okay with acknowledging that, and find somebody in a group that's solid that can
Right.
your
I,
back.
I would relate that to like someone that's working on grief. You know, if you haven't worked through your own grief, grief comes in waves. So it's not that you can't go and be a leader and be vulnerable and cry yourself. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm sure that's not what you're saying.
No, that's
You
not what
want
I'm
people
saying.
to know you're not a robot, and you've got to be able to step up and still be the leader that they came for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emotions are good because when you're vulnerable, they can connect with you, right? So you went through it yourself, or from close by, you had that experience. What cannot happen is you totally go into a deep hole of an hour crying and you lose yourself, right? You can't.
Yeah.
It's you have to pivot out of it, like, or recognize, hey guys, I recognize you tear me up. Your story tears me up. Let's all take a deep breath. And mostly you're gonna do it for yourself. But say,
Yeah.
let's take a deep breath, and then you do three, or you know how many you need to do. If you need to do 10, you do 10, and probably everybody needs 10. So, but you have to have the meaning, know your tools. Like when you feel
Right.
something, go into a breathing exercise or a
Yeah.
grounding exercise, and probably everybody needs it. When there's emotion, people need to get back grounded and take a deep breath. Just, it are very basic exercises, but I've seen the retreats I host, sometimes people get lost in what's next, and just
Yeah.
sometimes being quiet or just do some breathing exercise or
Yeah.
grounding exercise and get everybody back, and the energy is back, and then you are back in your flow.
I agree. Yeah. I had an event I was at one time. We were doing it was called Next Level, and it was intense. And a girl that I ended up being really good friends with later, we were strangers, and I had to just be the sounding board, and I'm super empathic, and I wasn't controlling it very well back then, and she had to scream at like her best friend that didn't show up for her when she had a miscarriage and had a baby, and she was in the hospital and she didn't show up. And I just remember she's screaming all these things at me, and I had people on both sides of me also joining in, screaming at me. And that was like terrifying for me because I needed to be there for her, and just I had to take it. I couldn't say anything back, but I was like so upset inside because as a friend I would never be that. That wasn't ever who I would be. And so it was healing for her, but I we've talked about it since, and I just told her how traumatizing that was for me to
But
be
it's
that sounding
traumatizing.
board.
So when I do a screaming exercise, it's never to someone else. You're gonna scream in nature. We go deep in the
Yeah,
we're gonna scream
break some glass.
to a tree, or we go on a mountain and you're gonna throw some rocks in the valley, but we're not gonna scream at each other. Now you create a new trauma for someone.
Right. I felt like it kind of did. And I was just like so
Screaming is good
upset.
release, but not at someone else.
I know. It was like her trauma became mine now. And anyway, I mean, I let it
I
go, but
mean,
it was hard. And so I think,
another tip. So when you do release exercise of deep pain, it cannot be in a one-on-one exercise. If you want people to go all in and really release, it has to
yeah,
be in nature and use the natural elements that you have when you go into the woods or a lake. Throw rocks in a lake, or when you're going a mountain hike, throw rocks down the mountain. Like, but
yeah,
you cannot go.
yeah.
That's
No,
not good.
so, okay, what is your sweet spot, or what would you recommend as far as attendees, like a number for a one, like if you're by yourself and don't have a facilitator with you, or if you do, like talk about that for a minute.
My ideal group is 8 to 10 women.
Okay. With just you?
Just me. Yeah.
Okay. And if you bring a facilitator with you,
I
how do
think
you
like
handle
max
that?
20, 24.
Okay. All right.
Anything bigger, the bigger the group, the less deep you can go. And I like to go deep.
Yeah.
I want the real transformation. They come back and say after 3 days, you changed my life. And they will
Yes.
never forget that they were at my retreat at that moment in time. And they look back on their timeline. What were the pivotal moments in my lifetime? I wanted to say the retreat with Esther was a pivotal, and not just one of the 10, 20 retreats they've done. I wanted to be the pivotal moment of their life and not just another trip, right?
Do you find you have people that are repeaters that keep coming back to your retreats because they had so much transformation?
I have a lot of repeat people coming. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a compliment.
Yeah. And sometimes they come the next year, and sometimes there's 3 years in between or five
Yeah.
years in between. And I have people that want to come every year, or some people come twice a year, right? They come to a local one and then they go international with me. So it's diverse. There's always new people, and a lot
Yes.
of people I don't even know. So I believe in the word to mouth, but you have to get started somewhere. That's always the start is always the hardest, right? That's always with everything you do. But
It's true.
yeah, the first retreat is gonna be the most amazing, but also the hardest one to feel and then deliver. And then, you're looking for this confirmation. Do people like it? Do they want to come back? Are they referring it? Um, so that is the hardest, but it's when you get going and build your following. I've not been actively building a following by FYI. I don't have a retreat website. I don't have a active promotion. I just host my retreats, and people know me long enough that they know they want to come to my retreat.
So for those that don't have that, what could you recommend where to start? How does someone build their tribe? What would you recommend?
People are not going to buy your retreat, like they are not going to buy your business or your product. They're going to buy you. So how you are presenting yourself on social media or in the circles when you go networking or the groups you hang out with, they want somebody that's consistent and reliable and that has done the work, and they are just going to pay attention to everything. I'm amazed how many people sometimes comments or just send me a message that somebody said, "Oh, Esther, I've been following you for 10 years. I want to come to your retreat in Bali. I only did a Facebook live from Bali 2 weeks ago." And I said, "Wow, that's interesting. We never connected." He says, "Oh, I've been following you for 10 years." So people are watching,
Yeah.
even if they're not liking, not commenting, but they pay attention. What are you doing? How are you showing up? Like, are you engaged in political toxic posts or
Yeah.
conversations? Are you happy, positive? Are you owning when you have a hard time and share that too? Are you sharing your growth? Are you sharing your happy moments? But not people don't want drama. they already have enough on their own. So if they want to come to your retreat, it has to. So it's your personal branding that's going to be the most important.
Right. Yeah.
It's
So if
okay to
you're
be
thinking
sad
about,
or angry sometimes or not happy.
yeah,
They want real and authentic. But yeah, what you have to understand is that people watch you all the time, wherever you go,
yeah,
however you show up. And it's not always easy. Trust me. I had moments that I felt like that was not really a good representation of myself.
sure, sure. Well, I would say be what you want to attract, really,
Yeah.
in your business. Whatever kind of people you want to attract, make sure that's who you're becoming and being and
Yeah.
representing as well, because
So true.
nothing speaks louder than confusion and why this, or you started getting people asking questions they're just not interested anymore.
No, and be
The wrong
consistent,
questions.
right? A lot of people that do retreats, but then also post like they're selling lipstick or they're
Yeah,
doing real estate or they are uh, also in some tech development. Like I see people post so many different things, and then they say, "Yeah, I can get people to come to my retreat." I said, look at what's on your social media. I
yeah,
don't even know what you're doing. So if
right.
I don't know what you're doing, I'm for sure not coming to your retreat, but I think I'm gonna get the same thing as I see on social media. You're doing
Yeah,
too many things, so you didn't master this. And so yeah,
yeah,
you need to be consistent. You can do, you can have your real estate business and then do your retreat business as long as that are the things that people know this is her business and this is her
yeah,
passion project or whatever. Like for me, I own a tech company and I'm a consultant with bigger companies on this, and then I do my retreats 2 to 4 times a year. Um,
right.
and people know that because that's what I share. That's all I share.
Yeah. That's true. And I mean, I've been guilty for that. I've always had 3 or 4 companies at a time as well. And so I started branding, teaching multiple streams of income, and people need it. That's anymore you
Maybe
need
at
it.
time that people need it. What is
Mhm.
important though, if you have to be at least very successful in one, because
Yeah,
when you show that you're a 4 or 5 and you're broke,
yeah,
people don't want to follow you. Like,
that's right. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Um, well, any last words that you think, words of wisdom that we haven't really brought up or talked about that you want to share with the listeners?
I inspire you to be a great retreat leader, and it always comes back. Do your own work, ongoing work every day. I read a book a week. I do retreats myself where I am the participant. I go to seminars where I grow. I learn new tools and things that can help me grow my business, but also how I show up and new tools. Just stay open to learn from others, collaborate with other retreat hosts.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's easier to do together and to fill up a group and get experience together. And, just be open to the possibility, be positive about it, be clear on what your gifts are, and share just what are people going to get out of those 3 days or 5 days? What are they going to walk away with? Because people, they want to go but they don't. If you're not clear on your messaging what they're going to get out of it, then it's very hard for them to say yes, I want to do this, because price is never an issue.
no, you're right. No, that's great words of wisdom. I appreciate everything that you've said, and I would have to agree. It's so true. Well, I hope everyone's enjoyed listening to Esther today and learning all some nuggets that she has. She's got lots of great wisdom. And so we'll have to have you come revisit the show. I know we don't keep it super long, but that way they can get some more info from you later. But we appreciate you. And I'll put her contact information in the show notes. And until then, we will see you next time.
See you
Bye
next
for
time.
now. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of All Things Retreat. We hope you're leaving with new ideas, fresh inspiration, and the motivation to take your retreats to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us grow and reach more retreat leaders like you. And if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, or just want to say hello, send us an email at info@weretreatrnr.com. Follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all the latest updates. Until next time, remember, great retreats start with great intentions. Let's make them extraordinary, one step at a time.